starts with a fresh shot of espresso. Bold, rich, pulled just right. Then comes the milk, steamed smooth, creamy, and balanced. The perfect latte is not rushed. It is crafted, one cup at a time. Your perfect latte is ready. Coffee first, then everything else.
Good afternoon and welcome to Beyond the Headlines. I'm DJ Moises and today's conversation is brought to us by Coffee First. On January 8, 2026, a massive garbage slide occurred at the Binaliw landslide, killing 36 people. Back with lessons from Japan in February, Mayor Nestor Archibald eyes waste to energy or WTE solution. Then earlier this month, Cebu City launched its solid waste management emergency initiatives at the Eco Station in SRP, but there was no mention of a long-term solution. And last week, the Department of Energy and Natural Resources in Central Visayas has directed Cebu City government to stop using a portion of SRP as a waste transfer and storage area. Now the city is pushing to reopen the sanitary landfill, which is a dump site in Binaliw. Why does garbage problem persist even when everyone agrees it is a problem? This afternoon, we look deeper and think better. Joining us today is Councilor Joel Garganera, City Council's chairman of the Committee on Environment. Councilor Joel, welcome back to Beyond the Headlines.
Ngayong hapon.
And by the way, for our viewers, the reason why I had this laughter, because if you recall the last time that we had Councilor Joel as a guest, we were hoping that the conversation is already positively different from the topic that we discussed in the past. But at least in my opinion, it looked like this is a 360-degree progress. It's like there was so many things that are seemingly done, but it brought us back to where we were before. So, but that's my opinion. Now, Councilor Joel, have we truly moved forward 5 months after the landslide?
Actually, it's 5 months and 14 days after the landslide. Well, first and foremost, we still have to, hear the result of the investigation that the DNR composite team conducted. And up to now, wala pa. Second, from the dam site in Inayawan to another dam site in Binaliw, which cost 36 lives, and another dam site right now at Pond A, SRP. So it's really frustrating, from one dam site to another. And the thing is, right now, asam tapadong? No, what's the end goal here? No, what's the long-term solution? Because as it is, DJ, this crisis every now and then will occur.
So, a few weeks ago, I was at the opening of the Eco Station, which is situated in SRP. When I read the news about the DENR's order to close a portion of the SRP, is the Eco Station part of this?
No, kanang Eco Station, that's originally a bagsakan.
Okay.
That is intended for farm produce, no? Diha ihagbong, and then that is for carbon market and other markets in the city. But he converted it into an eco station. By the way, he gikuyog yun niya niyang May 1, no? To tour around. No? That's a very good, para nako, that's a very noble, it's a very good way of educating people and perhaps ma-reduce, ma-recycle na ito mga waste. But then I look at it like, it only address a maximum of 10 tons a day. No, in fact, there is the one machine there that costs around $350,000. That's approximately more than 20 million pesos, and can only process 50 tons a day. 5 tons a day. So ang actual produce niya na is 2 tons ng fertilizer. So makita gani mo ba nga layo my concern is right now we are not only producing 600 tons. If you're gonna hear him say ang atong daily garbage right now tonnage is 700. Now if we have 10 or 15 tons nga atong masalbar diha, asa man padong ang 685 tons. That is my concern. So, the answer right now, kung imo siyang paminawon, dam site yapon.
Actually, I was also in when the Eco Station was opened. I was also there, no, along with the other people in the business sector. And I have to say that in the beginning, I was impressed. So past tense was, no, I was impressed until I found out that the capacity is, as you've said, it's only maximum of 10 tons. And kanilang ba, I'm also an engineer, no, in my undergrad and licensure profession, although I did not practice it. And the mayor is also an engineer. Because the moment I heard about, although the number that was quoted was different, but it's
15.
still, but it's still significantly low compared to the 700 million tons every day. So when I heard about the figure, ni-compute din akong mind, and I said, so this is not the long-term
This is not
solution. And that's where my surprise is, why he is, I think he's way better than I am when it comes to math and engineering. But you know, the relationship among the numbers, that in itself is already, to me, a clear indicator that this is not enough.
Yeah, you're right. That's not enough. But he was relying that it will trickle down, no? It will create a multiplier effect. But we always have a city that we can mirror, what they've been through. Like for example, Yokohama. Yokohama, magisgot ang disiplina between Japanese and Filipinos. Disiplinado.
As of this time, yeah.
Oh, disiplinado sila. But when they started at, it took them 7 years to reduce their garbage by 30%. These are facts, no? And all the major cities in Tokyo, it took them 7. And in fact, right now, they're playing between 45 to 55. No? So, it will take time, 7 years. And during all this time, nga naa sila massive kayo, ilang education, campaign, and everything, naa sila waste to energy.
Correct.
Naa sila technology. Naa sila. In fact, ang ilang katapusan nga landfill was closed 15 years ago. And up to now, they are still rehabilitating it. So they shifted already long before, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, incinerator lang to. Wala to'y energy component, no? So, naa sila. Education, but at the same time, you have to look on those volume of garbage nga dili ma-process, dili ma-recycle, dili ma-reduce, no? So, let us be realistic ba?
And as of this time, that said, because it has to go parallel, no?
Parallel, yeah.
Long-term or /WTE and also the current initiative. And it looks like, as you've said, the volume, no, is significantly huge, the unprocessed one. And so, looking at it also on a personal standpoint, I was wondering, where would the residue go? And true enough, DNR already said, no, not SRP. No. So, and I'm glad they actually said na not SRP, because it looks like our options, at least correct us, no, if I'm wrong, for in the executive branch, what came into my mind is it's either we will dump into a very expensive location, which is Aluginsan, or SRP, or Binaliw. And true enough, last week, there's already talk about reopening Binaliw again. So, should the public be concerned about all this? Because it's already been 5 months, no? And it looks like, at least from, and correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like there is no long-term solution.
There's none, actually. In fact, what the Vice Mayor said sometime last month, May 26, that he asked for a month. No, he asked for a month to have a solution. But medyo na, kuan ko ba, good, no? All ideas, whatever technology, good. But somehow what was imprinted in my mind when the Vice Mayor said was, I already applied for a loan, like, loans is from Land Bank, the amount of 350 million. But how come he has the amount, the figure, and then wala pa kayo may nagadawat how much it can process on a daily basis ba? No, that's one.
Which is a very crucial information.
Which is very crucial. Dili kay ang kwarta tong gisgutan, ang technology itself. Then second, The mayor, kaning naibaw man siya ang katong primero nga kontrata nato with Aluginsan is volume based. So as an engineer, he knows kano saan siya mahuman. But somehow wala siya fallback. But it came out during our executive session April 28 nga naa na di ay partial lifting of the cease and desist order wherein pwede na sila mo operate mo dawat. And then at first he was like, yeah, basig nag-practice lang siya na and everything. And then a week thereafter nausab na sa siya. My point is, I'm very sure na karon that was his fallback position going to Binaliw. Now, ang pangutana man god is wala pa mahuman ang investigasyon, wala kibawon sa hinungdan nga no, namatay to ang 36 ka mga tao. Ang punto is it safe? And then he created a task force, which by the way, I'm not trying to belittle their capability. Mayo sila. But, you know, when you talk about the trash slide, it has something to do with foundation. It has something to do with, you know, the stability of the structure. No? So, mao na akong gipangita nga we're talking about a disaster pero wala ay representative dito sa disaster sa Cebu City Disaster Risk and Reduction. And then we're talking about engineering, structural stability. Wa gani ang atong OBO, atong Department of Engineers. So unsaon nato pag categorically nga assess nga safe na siya? No, so mo to nga in my privilege speech nga ato niya sure. Unya panalit niya recently karon niingon na siya Binaliw na maunta atake na go signal sa DNR EMB pero gidugay-dugay sa council. Akong punto ba? We have to voice out unsa atong feeling, unsa atong what's the right thing to do, what's the way to go, no? Kanang pwede ba di ay nga mo diretso lang ta without first assuring nga safe na siya. Now, if he thinks nga insakto ni and if he thinks that it is safe, then by all means do it. What stopped you? What stopped him from further dumping our garbage there? No? O para niya dili kay nganlan nga mopaabot ta sa resulta sa investigasyon para niya tungod kay mahal na kayo ang atong gibuhat karon nga paglabay sa basura. Ambot na ibong sa ko from 4,000 6,000 na sa diyang giingon karon, no? So ang punto is if you think nga safe na diha and you can assure the public that that is safe, then by all means do it. Nganong pasangin lang namin ninyo.
And then the other thing lang as an outsider said, and looking at the development, if I'll do the math, that there is no long-term solution.
Precisely.
And then the new piece of Binaliw to me is just very small for 700 million tons.
700 tons.
700 tons, sorry. 700 tons, no? That's very small. So
In fact, its maximum capacity is only 20,000.
So I could tell that this is going to be a dump site
Yeah.
very soon.
It will grow.
Correct.
That's
So
true.
now speaking about the lack of kanang foresight ba, at least my observation. Now let's go back to the piece on SRP, because when DNR ordered the city to stop dumping garbage in SRP, I also thought it should not be a surprise given what was happening in SRP, which is practically they are dumping the garbage. Why do you think the executive branch did not even anticipate that one day this order will really happen? And in fact, they will be surprised, no? Environmentalists as they are, they would even be surprised if this order would not happen.
In fact, way back in January 15 man to or second, third week pa to. They sent a letter to, which we don't know. No? Karon naman na siya nahibawaan. They sent a letter to EMB, the former EMB director. They denied, the office denied. And then recently, because of diha naman nila gidump, daghang kay terminology, it's a temporary, transfer station, temporary, but it's a dump site. At the end of the day, it's a dump site. And then karon, if you recall last June 3, the mayor said, nga, give me 15-30 days. June 3, 15-30 days, malimpyo na ako. And then just recently, through a press con by EMB, niingon ng EMB, that was in June 19. Niingon ng EMB nga, June 7 pa manamo na pada ang decision nga, ang cease and desist order. Pero niingon ang mayor nga, pa pa may kadawat. But what is there in the decision? The city is given 60 to 90 days to clear. What the mayor said before was 15 to 30 days. In fact, this recent CDO issued by by EMB is helping the mayor. He's trying to help the mayor.
Stretching it.
He's stretching it. And in fact, the mayor is not even contented. What, June 7? No, I still haven't received that. Once I receive it, then that 90 days will commence. So in other words, we will be having a dump site there for the longest time pa.
That to me is also a surprise, no? Because dump site is illegal, and of all location, it's in.
I'm not surprised
SRP.
anymore with EMB.
Yeah.
You know, because that CDO is not meant to stop. It's meant to stretch, and they're helping the mayor in that regard.
Sige. So now, if we zoom out a bit, Nasad, why do you think Cebu City is running in circles, no, about the garbage issue?
Well, as you said earlier, there's no long-term solution. And until such time nga naatay whatever technology, you know, nasayod man ka, DJ, nga I'm an advocate of waste to energy, no? It's not something new. That's an old technology. Kita lang, walang ana napita. But all our neighboring countries, major cities, na naman na siya. But, again? And then, ang ako ba, there's nothing wrong with the mayor's initiative kanang to recycle education. That's part of it. But what is the parallel? Asa man padung ang 95% or even 98% of the garbage, asa man padung. And this happens on a daily basis. Now, if what tay tubag ni Ana, and if the same answer is ang dump site gyapon, every now and then we'll be expecting a crisis. And one thing also sa DJ, right now all our garbage are going to Aluginchas, which is very expensive. You know what? Di man kay nganlan ngo we put all our garbage in one area. What if mutirik na sad ang kanang maong nga dump site? Just imagine the volume on a daily basis. Mo crisis na sad ka. In fact, this is what I suggested to him the day after. This was in January 9. Mayor, can we distribute our garbage? Nasa Konsolasyon, nasa Talisay. In fact, ako pa itong i-include ang Milanilla. And there's one another in akong isulti, in Danao. And then there's another one also in Toledo, which is hapit na Mahuman. Atong ikuan ba, distribute ba? Like for example, ang sa North District, yung Kagtalamban, Banilad, Mabolo, okay, they go to Konsolasyon. Na-part there is Inayawan and nga Talisay. In fact, okay magito sila like 50 tons lang, and then ang sa diri dapita 200 tons pwede ra man na. Pero wala, gi-all in niya. So it's a tragedy bound to, disaster bound to happen yapon, no?
And I would understand if eventually, no, in those locations suggest that the residents would push back. I would understand eventually. Because without a long-term solution, the likelihood of these locations to become dump site is actually very high, because the trash is going to pile up. It's still a need for a long-term solution, no?
Precisely, and it's been a year already, DJ. Have you heard about the mayor about the long-term solution?
I also don't have. So which goes to my next question. Why do you think is it very hard for the executive branch, no, or for the chief executive to actually break this obvious cycle?
I really don't know. I mean, we need to have an executive that should be decisive. And then, as it is now, he is leading us nowhere. I'm not trying to belittle or unsa ba ka ng initiative na to about education. That's good. I've seen that before in major cities around the world. I've seen that before. I heard about that before. But it will take time. Now, the time, if we don't have a destination, ug asa gid ang final destination, there is no long-term solution, ug asa pa doon atong basura, whatever technology, then every now and then, magsigil lang tayo nga ni. Now, para na ako, 36 kabuk na matay. That is enough lesson for us. And in fact, I still have to hear from him. Naningil ba siya o kumusta na ang resulta
Sa investigation.
sa investigation? And perhaps that's why EMB and DNR are very kuan, medyo kaning they're helping him. They're helping him.
Now, this is also one question that I'm now asking, and some people also within my circle, in the context ba, beyond waste management, do you also think that this is an indication of a governance issue that's beyond waste management?
Well, as you see right now, there's a lot of tension, not just between executive and legislative and the rest, no? Between the top two personalities in the city, no? It seems that they don't agree, no? Policies among themselves, no? And then they're throwing it to the public, ba? No? They're washing their differences in public, ba? No? Which is, as they try to appear it in public, they're chummy, but what's the real score here, no? What's the real score here? Can you not solve it among themselves? Like, for example, misgot sila nga nadugay ang bayad sa sweldo sa JO. And the mayor said, it's the council.
I read that.
No? And then it took Councilor Tumulak, who is the chair of the finance, ingon siya nga, nakapasar man me. Kamor man duha. Nagbalik-balik man mo duha. So somehow ang services ba deteriorate because of their differences ba. Like, for example, daghan, no? You can cite a lot of things that they don't meet eye to eye ba. But okay naman na because that's
part of
that's
democracy.
no? But somehow these top two belong on the same party. I don't mind, pero dili ba pwede magsabot sa mo? No? Magsabot mo unsa, no? For the good of the city. And the city is right now, niingon na siya, okay ko ni kang mayor, kang vice mayor nga iyahang technology, no? The incinerator minus the kuan. He has already the amount, 350 million. Okay ra kuan but we still have to hear about that because kano sa man June 26, it was given 30 days by the city council.
Now, sige, let's give, because on the flip side na sad now, let's put ourselves on the shoes, no, of the executive branch, no. If we are to pick one significant milestone specific to waste management since January, so 5 months after, can you cite one significant milestone, isa lang yun, that we can say that, this is moving forward? So we're not even looking at the overall lang, milestones lang.
Well, if you heard before, there's a carbon area, they were shredding vegetables, no? Yeah. And then dako ito yung numero, but in reality, it's just 10 tons maximum, 5 tons, no? And then right now, murag nawa naman sa tangali din nabali na sa dito sa
Upland. I heard about the Upland Barangays. How was it?
I still have to hear some updates niya.
I also have not
but it's
heard the
more
updates.
Kaning naay mga gipang storya siya, but if you try to look at it, murag wa may nahitabo. I mean, sorry, but wa kay mi ma-inform niya na dapitan. Name an Upland who is doing what Eco Station is doing. Wala. Perhaps tingali yan ang i-spread out, no? Which is good. I'm not trying to kaning discourage. No, this is the right way to do. This is para lang ko mayo gini siya kay discipline, education. Correct. This is good. But relying wholly on that, let us be realistic sa doy. No, I mean, I talked to the solid waste management head. In fairness to Ma'am Emma, she's very optimistic yun, no? She's too idealist. And then I don't blame her, no? Kasi she's been living her life in that kuan ba, in that principle ba. Pero I mean other cities experience will teach us a lesson. You know, lisod ni dili ning ani kasayon because on a daily basis natay 585 to 685 tons nga asa man nato ni ibutang. Mao mo ginay problema.
And then, sige, kanay, so that was in the context of a major milestone. And by the way,
But I'm asking you, like you've been watching closely about our waste management here in the city. What's the milestone? If
so now I'm the guest, but I'll answer.
no.
I'll answer the question.
Ang ako manggod kay naman ko sa sud pa.
Yeah,
Sometimes
from the outside,
when you're
no?
inside the picture frame, you cannot really
Sige.
because your emotion plays a vital role ba. But once if you're outside, coming from you, like what
So this is now Beyond the Headlines with Councilor Joel and as a guest. But no, I will answer the question. When I heard about the shredding, I thought it was a step forward until I did not hear any follow through. And when I say follow through, because I also, one of the things that I appreciate about the mayor, supposedly, is because, again, he's an engineer, so he's a numbers person. So I was actually hoping that when the shredder was implemented, there could have been numbers or updates to the public because these are actually good stories to tell. But unfortunately, after the shredder, it looks like the idea was shredded. I mean, at least because I did not hear any number. When I heard also about this upland barangays, and I could anticipate the excitement supposedly about educating kanang people about composting, that they can actually earn money from it or they can grow their own food, especially now that we are potentially heading towards a food security issue.
Yes.
It would have run in parallel, no, with our with the city's desire to equip people that their garbage can actually be used as a resource. No? Unfortunately, also, I did not hear a follow-through. And again, when I say follow-through, there is a measure of progress ba? Na 1 month into the, sige, ko na lang, 3 months into the program, this is exactly what's happening. And these are good stories to tell. But there is no stories to tell, no? So the composting was not composed, at least. And now I've mentioned earlier when the Eco Station was opened, I was also there, and I even posted it on my Facebook because I admire, no? Nga, finally, we have these machines, and then I think it would cater 10 barangays, and then they could bring them there, and then etc. When I found out the capacity and the actual the capacity, which is to what you said, it's just 10 tons every day. And then compared to the 700 tons every day, I was like, I hope this is not going to be a dump site because we will be bringing the trash there and then magpile ang 90% and then ang 10% lang ang ma-process. So I'm more afraid.
It's not even 10% because you're talking here about 10 tons.
Correct.
Vis-a-vis 700
Correct.
tons.
Yeah.
No?
It's not even 10%. For me, I was like, I hope this is not going to be a dump site, no? So, murag ni change ko. So now, to answer your question, there are good temporary starts. But I'm hopeful, and maybe the executive branch can also come now and say, because maybe it's just the absence of information, but they really are. And we would like them to also come and air their side.
Yeah.
Because for me, beyond the starting point, I'm not seeing a follow through. And we are even talking about interim or temporary solutions. We are not even talking about the long-term solution just yet. And in the opening also, and if the viewers would go on, I was even optimistic when the mayor came from Japan, and this was February, and then he expressed openness to WTE. I was not even kanang excited that he's going to do this, but I was even happy that at least he expressed openness towards WTE. But after the openness, it remained open. No,
Actually,
so that those are the things that saddens me, no?
Actually, that was not his first time to visit a waste to energy facility. Last year, he went to Singapore together with Chambersad. So, and then he was impressed there, as was relayed by some of his companions, no. Pero karon nanasad, but I don't see any action from him going into that direction. No, I did not saying I give up, but I said nga, di maging WT, what technology man? Sige. So, daghan siya padadri sa kuha, usado ha, but it can only process like a maximum of 20 tons a day. So, di good ba? You have to look at it in the bigger scale ba? Yung bigger scale. So, wala pa gid.
I actually remain optimistic, no?
Yeah.
That eventually the executive branch and the mayor will leverage, no, his being an environmentalist, because I still believe that it is in his DNA, no. It's just that I'm not seeing a lot of it, no, in the context of waste management, but I'm still optimistic, no. Okay, na kono'y question sa comment na sa imo messenger or sa live.
Imo?
Ako can you just read it for me? Sorry. Sorry. For our viewers, I'm sorry, but I'll look at the live, no? Because there are questions daw and comments. Sige, let's do this. Sige. Imo messenger. Okay. Okay. So this is what happens actually during a live kanang discussion. Okay, it's still being okay. Okay, there's a lot of messages, Eric, and it's still coming. Sige, and then I'm already opening it, but for now, sige, I'll ask first my question to Councilor Joel, and then once. By the way, is it in Isboy or is it in BTH? Mine. Okay. Okay. Okay, got it. Sige, finally, I saw them. So these are. Okay, there's a comment coming from our editor, question coming from our editor-in-chief, no? If Cebu has been implementing waste segregation for months now, why is the volume of garbage collected still nearly the same or even growing?
No,
That's a good question.
Actually, previously, we were only averaging 600. I don't know now, with all these efforts, and I just heard it from the mayor, we are now 700 tons. For the longest time, that's 600 raman.
And by the way, and also to and this is also my observation in some of the gatherings that I happen to be in, and the mayor was there are even times that he would use 1,000. There are even times, and I was like, okay.
For the longest time, maximum na ng 600. That's for the longest time, maximum. And I don't know now, with all these efforts, with all this education, with all these stations, shredding, etc., ni 700 naman noon. Yeah. And then, that is still, I know, the last time interview siya, it's very costly na kuno, it's 6,000 per ton. Ay ko, ha? No, na 6,000 na, 3,900 naman to. So, there are a lot of things nga, wag kita kibaw.
And this is actually a very good point, no? Because I've said earlier that there's the lack of measures. But yes, if the tons is increasing, then it would tell us that the upline and the shredding, they're not working. Okay, the overall, it's still increasing. It's getting decreasing. Worse. It's getting worse. Sige, the other question also coming from our editor-in-chief. Do you think it is moral to allocate almost 1 billion just to dispose garbage?
Well, the present situation we're in, so sa metong alternatibo, no? It would have been better if there is a long-term solution. Like, nata diha, okay, we'll sacrifice karon. We'll sacrifice karon. The next 2-3 years, we'll double our effort in, reducing, recycling, and everything. Anyway, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. But as it is now, we are in a dark room. Ngit-ngit panis. Payag, no, Wa man tayo kapaingnan, but dump site. And we're spending this much. And then we're at the mercy of the state of this dump site. And we're also at the mercy of the community where this dump site are located. No? What if dili na sila mo gusto nga?
Correct.
We're at the mercy. So, ug kita lang mismo sa city of Cebu, wa gitay kapaingnan.
And in the absence also of a long-term solution, at least in my view, bisan ako sa ang community nga ingnon nga o sa inyo alang sa ipadulong temporarily, I would be concerned if I don't see a long-term solution, because that in itself would tell me this is going to be a dump site for a long time.
It's always
in
a
the
downside.
absence of a long-term solution. Now, the final question from our editor-in-chief: will there ever be, which you've covered a portion of this, but I think this is a good question to push the message even further. No, will there ever be justice for the 36 people who died in the Binaliw landslide?
You know, I think I delivered 3-4 privilege speech in that regard. No, in fact, akong ibalik, no, February 8 when I was called upon at the mayor's office, a conference room, and all of them were there sa composite team. There are around 11 of them, headed by an undersecretary. When I arrived there, I said, I only have 2 questions. Okay, who among you visited Binaliw? All of them raised their hands. And I said, okay, second question. What do you think? Is it a landfill or a dump site? All of them said it's a dump site. Upon hearing that, nakaingon ko sa kagalingon, adol-duol na ni mahuman ang
There's recognition at least.
there's recognition. Doon na nis tinuod nga mahuman ang ilang investigation. But February 8, up to now, wala pa magyud. And then there's one thing that I really want to find out. How come the mayor is not asking for it? Never. Come on, there is a media or whoever. Have you heard about the mayor demanding the result of those 36 lives? Butang tagwa na reklamo or unsa they were compensated, but this is something that happened in our jurisdiction and we don't want this to happen. And then what pains me ba, no? What pa gani tagayg hustisya kay we're talking here about structural stability. Now, niingon nga okay na. If he thinks nga okay na, if he thinks that it is safe, then proceed. Nobody is stopping you. Nobody is stopping you. And don't blame us. Because ang amo lang proseso, wa pa man ni nahumang hustisya dire, wa pa ni mahuman og unsay resulta sa ilahang investigasyon because and then during the executive session I'll point this out. Ang head sa Primeways was telling us, well, I was asking there nga, did you conduct a technical assessment, no, about the structure human sa Bagyo, paghuman sa Linog? Yes, we did. We conducted. EMB conducted ko, no. They have their own personal engineer ko, no. Asa man dapita? Well, can you show us? No, natabunan sa trash line ang computer. I mean, these are flimsy nga tubag ba. We don't deserve that. Nya karon when we talk about, I was after for the safety because dili ra man na layo, duol ra man na. Unya taas man na naman sa ubos. You're talking here about 150, 100 meters away. No? So, ingon siya nga, mas barato. So, ingani na lang din just because it burden us. Yes, I mean, I'm mindful of that. I'm mindful of that. Pero, ang ako, can you assure the safety that that will not happen again? Because if it happens again, as if we're not learning our lesson.
And before I'll go into my last few questions, now maybe some of our viewers could not put a name or a face to the 36 ba, because they look at it as a number. I will not name the person, no, because in respect to the family, but one of the stories that are true, no, that happened, one of the 36 was an OFW who graduated with honors. And he was just, so you know the gender, he was just there at that time because he was processing his papers to join his brother who is also another OFW in another country. So temporary na gyud siya din he. But because he genuinely wanted to help his parents, so while waiting for the papers, he worked in prime waste. And he was among those who died.
Perish.
Kana lang, I cannot imagine ba nga, you can at least have an idea of how the person is with the family. Kay pwede ra ba siya maghigda-higda sa ila. But he chose to work, no, to help his family while waiting for the papers. And yeah, he was among those who died. So when I saw that story, it's like, how can we just let this slide? No?
Yeah.
And I'm sure this is just one of the 36 stories.
And not to mention, said, they do not have to name, said, when that there's a hit and run incident that happened somewhere in Banilad, I was quick to seek justice. And we're looking here, and 36 poor people, mga pobre na sila. And nobody, wa man siya mo demand of justice niya. I mean, That pains me. That pains me. No, kay kaning aggravating man kayo good nga mobalik ta diha with it even assuring its structural stability, its safety, and kana unsa na may resulta sa atong investigasyon. At least to give a closure ba naning 36 ka book nga
Correct.
matay ba.
And to make sure that this will not happen again, because
Precisely.
having another dump site will still open the possibility of people dying again because of a landslide. No?
Well, left and right, it happened in Malabon man to. And it happened in Davao. So every now and then ingana gyud na siya. Ingana gyud siya mahitabo.
Sige, so now that we're on the closing part of our conversation today, and this is to circle na sa no and what we talked about in the past, what do you think is the long-term solution that the city should at least not implement necessarily, but at least investigate more closely, to provide a long-term solution to our never-ending garbage issue?
You know, I'm an advocate of the waste to energy because I've seen it. I've seen more than 10 waste to energy around the world. No? And it helped. It worked. It worked. It was never an environmental issue to them. It was, in fact, even erected in the middle of a robust city. No? But anyway, because the mayor is very reluctant to endorse that, I don't care what kind of technology. I really don't care as long as we have a sustainable solution to it. Because compared to now, dump site lang gihapon, and what transpired, what happened diha sa Binaliw, may tabo gihapon na. I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. As long he will navigate us to a sustainable solution.
And my final question, which was the closing in our last interview, if we are to have a conversation again specific to waste energy 3 months from now, so this is even very short term, what would you hope the conversation would be different 3 months from now?
Well, that depends entirely on what the mayor's going to report after his 1 year. He will be delivering a state of the city address sometime early July. So I think we'll have to wait for that. Perhaps, and I would like to believe na nana siya sustainable solution niya na dapita. And then it could alter perhaps the conversation once he inform us about what is the final destination of the city's garbage.
And thank you very much for your time, Councilor Joel. And just like you, I would also hope that our next conversation
Yeah.
specific to waste management would be positively different the next time around. No? And thank you to Coffee First for supporting conversations that matter. So 5 months into the tragedy in Binaliw that claimed 36 lives, many Cebuanos are still asking the same question. Are we any closer to a real solution? The people of Cebu have waited long enough. We deserve answers, and more importantly, we deserve results. I'm DJ Moises. This is Beyond the Headlines. Look deeper, think better. Have a good afternoon.
It starts with a fresh shot of espresso. Bold, rich, pulled just right. Then comes the milk, steamed smooth, creamy, and balanced. The perfect latte is not rushed. It is crafted, 1 cup at a time. Your perfect latte is ready. Coffee first, then everything else.